If you ever shit your pants and come to find out that you shit in your mom's pants, you've come to the right podcast. I'm one half of the Brohio podcast. I'm the delicious Nickalicious. Oh, wow.
I was holding that breath in for so long.
I like it. It sounded pretty good.
I had that held in from the beginning of the theme song. So yeah, I'm Rob Dog. Hey guys, what's going on? How are you?
Welcome to all you vampires and vampirettes that are listening to this episode that have never listened to us before. We're fucking idiots.
We're coming off the back of this interview we're going to play at the ass end of the show, and it was a great interview.
We recorded an interview with a real goddamn vampire named Astaroth.
Yeah, not Edward Cullen. He's real. He ain't sparkly.
Edward Cullen's a real fraud is what he is. Fraud alert.
Yeah. It's like he's completely made up or something.
Much like when I use my stepmom's credit card when she falls asleep early. Fraud alert. You know?
Yeah, I feel you, dog.
That's what I'm doing. Okay. I'm ready to welcome all of our new Patreon subscribers.
Well, I'm not.
What the fuck you want to do?
Now I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind if this is your first time listening to us, the content starts around the 15 or 20 minute mark.
But don't skip through that. We're the most likable part of this podcast, not what we cover.
First up, we have Aaliyah Cummins, as in cummed, as in I'm coming. Aaliyah Cummins, thank you for your Patreon pledge, and I hope you are able to achieve what your last name desires you to achieve.
Oh, that's very optimistic. Yes. Next, we got Jason. Ought to be stroking my dick.
Ought to be stroking my dick. We got some really hard names this week.
I know. I don't like it at all.
Adam Howcam.
Cockhand.
Howcam. Like, how's the ham? Howcam. How's the ham? It's good. It's delicious. You put pineapples and brown sugar on it. It's really good ham. It came out real nice. Adam Howcam. Thank you, Adam Howcam.
Next, we have my great-great-great-great-grandma, Opal. Thank you for listening, Opal.
Next, we have Mooning Cryptos. I don't know what Mooning is. Mooning Cryptos?
Sounds like a podcast.
Are they a podcast or
Sounds like a podcast. Something? Hey, tell you what, this is the cheapest way to get a to get a podcast plug from us.
It means,
$1.
Oh, it's Mooning Crypto it describes the rising price of cryptocurrency.
I don't know. I think that's wrong. I think that's a podcast.
Okay.
Anywho, we got Tori Smith. Thank you very much, Tori.
And we have paying for Nick Charlie because Nick was too fucking cheap. Nick Sharts, you cheap motherfucker. Hop on our Patreon page. We have someone named Paying for Nick Charlie, but he's not really here.
What it really is, he just, I don't know, just insecure.
Yeah, doesn't know.
Next, we got Sergeant Stadanko the Manco. Thank you very much.
Now we have Fister Rectum, which I do believe that's a birth name. Unfortunately for this person, Fister Rectum is a very nasty word. Thank you, Fister Rectum.
And next we have Jessica Fry. Thank you very much, Miss Fry.
Chloe the Unicorn Casalo.
Ooh.
Chloe the Unicorn is a unicorn. They found her on the bottom of the rainbow. She was getting her hair braided by a bunch of leprechauns.
Ooh.
Now she's here on our Patreon pledge page. Thank you, Chloe.
Super hot. And last but not least, we have Connor Wright.
Connor Wright.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wright.
Now we also have a very special announcement. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Oh, it's not even in the notes. Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to.
We have a live show.
Woo!
It is, let's see here. Yeah. We're going to be in Louisville, Kentucky.
There you go. That's the one.
Hillbilly Horror Stories 5-year anniversary. We're going to be with them.
Congrats to them.
And we drink and we know things.
Love them. They are both beautiful people.
August 21st in Louisville, Kentucky. Tickets are $20 a piece. It's going to be at 7111 Lower Hunter's Trace. That's the VFW. So come one, come all. If you're not coming, don't come at all.
This is the same place we did a show at a couple years ago, isn't it?
I have no fucking idea.
I think it is. It was a cool venue. We'll hang out. We talk to everybody before the shows. We'll sign your asshole if you want us to.
Yeah.
As long as it's hairy.
Yeah. A big shout out. This is a little more somber, but
yeah,
one of our sister shows, Real Life Ghost Stories.
She suffered a loss.
She was one of the first people that ever reached out to the show. She said she's a huge fan, and she wanted to do a promo swap. We did it with them.
This was a horrible segue into this.
It is, but we got to pay our respects.
Absolutely.
And she lost her better half, Dan.
Yeah.
He was one half of the show. Unfortunately, he passed away. He was a young dude like us. I'm not sure what happened. I don't care what happened, but I know I'm very sorry for her.
Yeah.
And her loss. So if you guys can go check out Real Life Ghost Stories.
I couldn't imagine what she's going through. I'm sure she needs like all the positive vibes everybody can send her, because she's probably going through the world right now.
Yeah. And they were, we've gone through this journey together with them since the beginning, and it hurts, man. It's I couldn't imagine ever going through anything like that.
Not at all.
Especially in a public forum like this. So, But one way we can all help the world become a better place is by sharing love. Send love to the Real Life Ghost Stories. But there's also...
Tell them BroHio sent you, and you just, even if you don't listen to him, just send him a message and say, you know what, we're thinking of you. Godspeed, Dan.
But now, like you said, this is a tough segue. We could probably stop recording the show from here, but, we're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on chugging along here.
Sure.
Well, the past few weeks, we've been doing something called the BroHio.
Oh, yes, please.
Battlefield of Love.
Okay.
Here's what you can do to get on the Battlefield of Love.
I'm living for this, so please keep this going, because I need this, or else I will be really sad, and it'll make for a really bad week for me. Oh my God, what did I just do?
I don't know.
There we go. I'm good.
Every week, we solicit your questions. You send your questions to brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Use the subject BroHio Battlefield of Love. That would make me very happy. And you send in your love questions.
I feel like we're love experts.
What that question is. Some guy sent us a message this week, wasn't even soliciting advice. He was just writing to tell us that his wife has 2 vaginas. I said, I would love to interview on a Patreon
Please,
episode.
Yes.
And I think he might have semi-agreed to it. I'm still waiting to hear back.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. I wonder if she's the Reddit girl.
2 pussies. 2 vaginals. 2 vaginal holes.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Vagina, when you have 2 of them, they're not called vaginas, they're called vaginers. You know how I know that?
No.
Medical school.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go there, but I'm guessing that's probably what they're called.
Yeah.
Vaginals.
If you'd have learned, I'm sure that's where you'd have learned it from.
If you have 2 vaginas, they're called urinals.
Urinals?
Because you can piss in one and use the other one for fucking. You don't have to worry about tainting one of them.
Shit in the other one.
Fucking them. Yeah. 3 vaginas? I don't know. That's a medical breakthrough right there. I don't know. That's
Hopefully they're listening. Yeah. Let's wrap this up. Let's do that interview. That sounds amazing.
That's money right
so
there.
Many questions for both of them.
Yeah. Which dick do they use? Whatever. I don't know. It's a lot of good stuff.
Do you get mad if one gets poked and not the other?
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's an endless amount of questions.
There's a lot of questions.
Okay. Let's go into our love.
This is new music this week. We keep on getting copyrighted on the other one, so I had to fucking...
I'm going to make one. I'll make one.
All right. Hello, bros. I need your love advice. My boyfriend, Brandon, claims his favorite movie is Garfield, The Tale of Two Kitties. I can't believe this is true. Who would even have this in their top 10 movies? It sucks big dong pee pee poo poo. Anyways, how do I get him to come to his senses? Your advice is greatly appreciated. Both of us are huge fans of the podcast. We will see you both in person in September of 2022 on the BroHio cruise.
Cheers.
Brandon will bring his big hairy balls for you to shave, Nick. Sincerely, Abby Pancakes.
Better you to shave them balls than me. I'm not a big fan of hair.
Oh, but what I am a big fan of is Garfield, The Tale of Two Tales.
I'll let you answer this, and then I'll answer this in my own way.
Abby Pancakes, you've been listening to the show for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of our very first Instagram subscribers. I do remember that. I do remember not much else, except for you have a delicious last name.
The Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Whenever the gods named your family Pancakes, they really shined upon all of you. They smiled upon your lives.
I'll be totally honest, though. I get sick of pancakes after like 4 bites.
No. That's why you're a fucking fraud.
It's the same as like funnel cakes.
I bet you call them freedom fries and not French fries, don't you?
No, I don't. I do appreciate freedom fries. I mean, French fries.
Okay.
Let's edit that out that I said freedom fries.
No, we're leaving it all. Abby Pancakes and Brandon, here's what we got to do for a second.
Sure.
Brandon, all the good fucking movies out there. Blade Runner. Alien vs. Predator. Over the Top, Bloodsport, The Big Green, Little Giants, Sandlot, all the fucking good movies out there. And you're picking the fucking Garfield movie. I don't know much about you, Brandon, but I know you probably fucking lay on your ass and eat lasagna like Garfield himself. Fucking, out of all the fucking movies.
That was going to be my one. I didn't even know there was a. I knew there was a Garfield movie, but I didn't know there was a Garfield, The Tale of Two Kitties. I didn't know that was a thing. That's what I was going to say. The only thing I'll give credit for Garfield is that the fact that he liked lasagna. Well, lasagna is fucking delicious.
It is.
And I will say, growing up, I had a really thick book that was nothing but Garfield comics that I would sit and I would redraw.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I loved drawing when I was little. That's about the extent that I'm like of Garfield.
You know, Brandon that she's mentioning,
he could like Inception.
Abby's been trying to get away from him. He's a furry, and
Club.
he's been dressing up on the weekends and getting fucked by people at conventions in My Little Pony outfits.
Yeah,
and she's been dealing with it for a long time.
She's probably tired of him dressing up as Garfield and shoving lasagna up his ass.
Some extra Parmesan cheese on that one right there.
Make it extra stanky.
Abby and Brandon, we can't wait to see you guys in September.
Yeah,
love
but
you both.
He needs to get his fucking priorities straight.
Don't bring that fucking VHS with you, Brandon. I'll throw you in the fucking movie in the ocean.
Please, yes. Well, that'll go right overboard. Hey, bros. Hang on. Hey, bros. I'm in need of advice on how to convince my wife that my bromance with my BFF is purely hetero. His girlfriend is almost completely sure that we're half gay. We need a solution. Please help us. Thanks. Helpless in Kansas.
Helpless in Kansas, here's what you need to do. You need to get with your good friend, and you guys need to get into an intimate situation where you know that your wife is going to be coming around. And I'm talking some hot, butt-smacking, ball-flapping, doing the motherfucking... Coming around. You guys need to get to fucking each other.
You mind?
I don't care.
Okay.
And when you guys get to fucking, she's going to walk in on you guys. And what I need you to do is immediately start vomiting to show her that the disgust and disdain you share towards being sexual with this man outweighs anything you've ever been upset about in your entire life. Show her that having butt sex with another man makes you sick.
Here's the thing.
It's going to feel good, so it's going to be a fake puke.
Here's the thing, like a lot of females don't understand is that
our wives think we're gay.
Yeah, I'm not gay. But if Nick needed me to suck his dick, I'd suck his dick.
That's called doing a brother a favor.
Exactly.
You need to go to prison. Tell your wife she needs to do 5 years in the penitentiary, and then all this will come together.
I feel bad for anybody that doesn't have that type of a relationship in their life. All of my best friends, I'm the same exact way. You know, if they need a nut busted,
I'm the nut buster.
I'll be happy to be that nut buster.
I'll be your little nut buster.
I'll be the canvas for them to paint.
That's good.
That was such an awful analogy.
Yeah, I really like it. Hey boys, wanted to send over an email and tell you about an interesting thing I live with. Oh, I didn't mean to put this in here.
It's okay. This is different, but it's okay.
My wife has two vaginas.
Oh, this is piggybacking off what we were talking about earlier.
It's called uterus didelphus. She straight up has a double uterus, and yes, 2 openings, 2 everything, 2 vulvas, 4 lips between the 2 of them.
I guess this does fit in the love category. I mean, we're talking about pussy. So.
Everything functions as it should. We have 2 beautiful children. Apparently, it's super rare, and even more rare is that she's literally got 2 of everything else that goes with it, even a butthole. I put that in myself.
Okay, I was gonna say, damn.
Thank God it's not like an Arby's all-you-can-eat buffet down. Keep up the good work. Thank you. God bless Brandon. Well, yeah.
Brandon, we need to do an interview, my friend. Get her on the line.
I can't even answer the question.
That's not even a question there, but let's do it.
Let's go to the next one.
I don't know what that first word is.
It's my wanger yeet.
Okay, there you go. My wanger yeet. That was too fancy for me. Greetings, fellow butt chuggers. I want to hear your thoughts on either duck butter from your grundle, or the Hershey Squirts as alternative and natural lubes, because I use spit after eating a ghost pepper, and my peen swelled up to the size of a Pepsi can in width and spilled viscous yellow ejaculate. Also, chickens do indeed die after having sex. I don't think that's true. After the one I fucked did. Okay, never mind. Good day, sirs. Yeah.
That's what he wanted.
Okay, so,
the best lubricant for me is Miracle Whip.
oh God. Especially if you can suck your own dick afterwards.
Sweet and tangy. You're not gonna, if she does have a little extra cheese in the garden, you're not gonna know it because you got the stuff on there. I don't know what I'm doing with this one, Rob. I gotta skip.
I'm gonna be totally honest, and I'm gonna be totally open and vulnerable for a second.
I love the moisture that women produce. I love the moisture my wife puts out. It is the best moisture.
It's very true. Not your wife, but yeah, mine.
No, it's true.
But anywho. So, I'm going to tell a little story here.
Oh, okay.
And this just happened yesterday. So,
okay.
Yesterday, my peak performance time is early in the morning. I wake up and I piss excellence.
I can't do that.
No, I can't do late because I get tired and I just want to sleep. And the only thing I care about is she could be sitting there slapping my dick around under the cover like a sock puppet, and I'm non-responsive. I just want to fucking go to bed. Leave me alone, please. But in the mornings, that's a different story. So, she was sleeping, and I sneak in the room.
That's rape. But go on.
With my wife, no, it is not.
Okay.
No, it is not, my friend.
Okay.
Astroglide is a complete bitch. I'll tell you what. I think I may have grabbed way too much of it.
Did you eat it, or what the fuck did you do?
Oh no, man! I battered my biscuits up with it, and I woke up this morning and my balls were still slippery. If you want some everlasting stuff, Astroglide's the way to go, my friend.
Good.
I'm sure that's not a serious question, but I'm going to give you a serious answer.
You kind of limped coming in here. I was wondering what was going on with you.
Yeah, it wasn't in my ass. I mean,
no, I didn't ask that. That's silly that you would allude straight to that. All right, dear Nicky Dicky and Robert Throbert, I'm in need of help. Currently, I have came into the predicament of a broken penis. My dick is all bent up like the letter Z.
No, please. Oh, this has to be fake. There's no way.
How do I go for the gold and miss the grundle of steel? I dove off the top bunk like a WWE star, and this is my suffering.
What?
Please help me. I have a shaft cast.
No, that's a thing.
Also, stay schmexy, Dwayne, Nick. Rob, can I get a...
Give you a little stank at the end of that one.
Sincerely, shook my ash hole.
Okay, first off, if you really broke your penis...
That's worse than World War II.
That's almost as bad as the Holocaust.
I'm glad there's bad, sad music playing.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine. I have been in the middle of a good, vigorous fucking, receiving, not giving.
Something like that.
And I have missed the hole, and I have hit the taint, and it does not feel good.
That's what it sounds like.
It's almost a given that you're gonna have to gummy bear the rest of the session.
Yeah, sorry.
To gummy worm the rest of the session.
I just folded my dick like a lawn chair.
So I couldn't imagine actually breaking it. So if you did break it, I feel awful for you.
I don't feel bad at all. You probably fucking deserved it. Probably had your dick somewhere it wasn't supposed to be.
After it's casted, think about it this way. What was the movie was it the Rookie of the Year? Which one was it where the dude broke his arm and then
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, yeah.
Funky butt loving.
Yeah. After he got his cast off, his arm was even better than it was before. So think about this. After you get your dick cast off...
I'm long. I'm strong. I'm about to get a friction on. Yeah. So, please.
Your dick is going to be in top peak performance.
You're going to have a Terminator dick.
Yeah. Please get back to us and let us know if you have a Terminator dick after that.
Yeah. God, yeah. Now, we're going to get to the topic here. Vampires. Modern day
Yes.
vampires. Now,
Love
Rob,
it.
I'm sorry I stitched this together. I'm going to be regurgitating most of this from memory here.
Sure, no.
This is not a very easy one.
Yeah.
And there was just nothing to copy and paste.
The interview makes all this that much better.
It does. And you know, we're focusing on modern day vampires, but in terms of, I guess, the old adage, the old question, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
Where did the first vampire come from? Did they just did a vampire get shitted out of the sky? Or did, was it Keith Richards from a long time ago? I don't know.
Man.
I don't know the answer, so I had to look it up. Where did the first vampire come from?
I mean, he's been alive since the 1700s, so I mean, I'm sure.
Longer than that.
Yeah.
He turned 60 in the 1700s.
I heard he was the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Stoker.
It's him.
Not Stroker.
Stroker. Now, according to the history books, website I looked at, godsandmonsters.com, Ambrogio was a young adventurer. He was born and raised in Italy. He sailed to Greece to have his fortune told by the Oracle of Delphi. So this guy was so excited to sail away from Italy to go to Greece to get his fortune told, specifically by this Oracle of Delphi.
Okay.
And an oracle is like a god-like figure.
Yeah. If anybody's seen The Matrix, knows what the fuck the Oracle is.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Please tell me you've seen it.
I haven't.
Are you? Oh my fucking god!
I've never seen The Matrix.
Neither has my wife, and it drives me fucking crazy. Like, how have you? It's the best trilogy ever.
So much better stuff to do with my life than watching a movie.
Keanu Reeves, man, you can't. Oh my god, The Matrix.
I want to watch it.
It's a must see. I mean, it's not as good now as it was back in 1999 or whatever the fuck it came out, but still, it's still really good.
It's definitely on my short list.
Yeah, short list. Okay.
So he did set sail. He sailed to the western edge of Greece and arrived in Astakos. And he eventually kept on going from there and made it to the city of Delphi, where he was trying to go. Well, Delphi was a home to Apollo, the sun god, and it was also home to Pythia, which is one of the oracles.
Okay, so if you've ever met Apollo, the sun god, please send us an email at brohiapodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear from somebody who has met a real life god, and not just Ric Flair, just a god.
Yeah,
or Ric Flair.
Ric Flair is a god for sure.
Yes.
Now in Delphi there was a temple, and inside the temple was a like a prophecy type figure named Pythia, and Pythia was inspired by the Apollo, the sun god.
Okay.
Ambrogio, the young Italian adventurer, went to speak to Pythia. And in a very cryptic message, all Pythia said to young Ambrogio was, quote, "The curse, the moon, the blood will run."
Oh, shit.
That seems like something really strange, really, really cryptic. So he left the temple. He set out in front of the temple. He sat there all night long. He couldn't fall asleep. He was up all night long, just Ambrogio. What the fuck was he talking about? I don't fucking remember what the fuck it is.
It's very mystic and godlike.
It is very. And he wanted to connect the dots, but he couldn't. And then finally the sun started to come up. He's been out there drunk on the sidewalk all fucking night. The sun starts to come up. He says, "God damn it. I sat here all night. I didn't do a single fucking thing with my life all night long.
Mamma mia!
Mamma mia, there's a pizza coming in. I'm going to eat the pizza. Olive Garden waitress looks me in the eye and says, 'Tell me when to stop cranking the cheese.' I said, 'I never stop a cranking the cheese. Cranking the cheese.'"
Yeah, just leave the whole fucking thing there for me, please.
"Put extra peppers in my salad. I like the banana pepperoncinis."
The reason why I hate going there is because I get social anxiety telling them to stop when I don't want them to stop because I feel bad for them.
I fall asleep. I'll be like, I'll say, "Wake me up when your arm's tired, bitch." Oh man, or what's Jerry? They were talking about it in the closed group, which you can find our closed group. It's called Brohio Podcast Butt Chuggers Anonymous on Facebook. The link to the group is going to be in the episode description. The password is Bill Wilkins. Jerry Pauly from Hillbilly Horror Stories. He says he always tells his waitress next Tuesday. When she says, "Tell me when," he says next fucking Tuesday. Whenever she starts cranking the cheese wheel, he says, "Don't stop till you get enough." You feel me?
Yeah.
So he stays up all night, and then coming down the sidewalk, he sees an absolutely pristine, perfect, beautiful woman dressed in all white. She's walking back from town. She's going to the temple. Her name was Celine, not Selena, the bitch that got gatted. This is a different, this is Celine. We're not talking about the other shit. She was a maiden of the temple, which means she hung out in the temple. She cleaned shit. She took care of things. But her sister was inside of the Oracle Temple. And she took care of her sister as her sister was in an trance state.
Okay.
So that was her thing. Her sister was whatever the fuck ever, some type of weird god or I don't know. And she would just take care of her while she laid there like a potato vegetable and made sure everything was okay. She would meet Ambrogio every morning on her way into the temple. So this became an everyday between Celine and Ambrogio. He said, "I want to take my pizza." And she would walk down the sidewalk and she'd be like, "Oh, good morning. I've been wanting to go out on the sidewalk." And they would talk back and forth. They started to fall in love eventually. And he said, "You know what, baby girl? I can't sit here on the sidewalks of Delphi for the rest of my life."
So guys, if this teaches you anything, it's that while you're on sidewalks, you have to make your shot at these women that are walking by.
Yeah, you do.
Look what happened back in these days. Hey,
look what happened to Ambrosio. Every day he would lay there on the sidewalk. She'd walk by and he'd wake up out of his drunken stupor, presumably. And they would talk and they just started to really hit it off. But he said, "I can't lay here on the sidewalk of Delphi for the rest of my life. There's other bigger and better things I have to do and I have to get out of here." He said, "I'm from Italia. I have to go back to Italy." And she said, "All right, let's get married. Let's go back to Italy. Let's get married together." And Ambrogio said, "That's a great fucking idea." Little did he know that Celine, the man that was over her, that was like, "That's my piece," was actually Apollo, the sun god.
Oh.
And he was watching all this go down, and he became enraged because Celine was his fucking piece of meat.
Oh, yeah.
And at sunset that night, so that morning, Ambrogio told her that meet me tomorrow morning, and we will sail back to Italy. Well, it didn't make it that far. Because at sunset that night, Apollo, the sun god, he put a curse on Ambrogio. And from that day forward, every time Ambrogio felt the warmth, the rays from the sun outside, it burned his skin so badly that it would nearly bring him to death every single time the sunlight touched him. This is a curse from the fucking sun god. Of all people to put that curse on me, I'm thinking to myself, probably going to be Apollo, the sun god.
Yeah.
So with that being said, his plan was to meet the next morning at sunrise. He was going to meet Celine at sunrise in front of the temple. He couldn't do that because if he touched the sun, he would fucking die right where he stood.
That's how I felt last week whenever I went to Kings Island's water park. I about fucking died.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you were the woman that approached me in the Kings Island parking lot and you said that you loved my Brohio podcast shirt, I was too awkward to say, "Hey, I'm in that podcast." So hey, that was Rob Dog. Hey, how are you?
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks. She's like, "I like your shirt." I was like, "Thanks."
I stole it.
I didn't know what to say. I'm like, "Okay." It's like the second time that's ever happened. So I'm like, not you getting run in it, every 2 seconds getting approached by people.
Because I'm the bigger one. I'm easier to see. That's all it is. Now, Celine, she showed up the next morning, and obviously, Ambrogio, he wasn't there because he would fucking die if he was outside waiting for her.
Sure, yeah.
Ambrogio had to retreat. He had to find shelter, and he retreated to a cave. And unfortunately for him, the cave that he was hiding in belonged to Hades, the god of the underworld.
No. Not Hades, anybody but Hades.
He explained the story to Hades. He said, "Listen here, buddy. I got a little situation. The fucking sun's fucking me up. I got some SPF 45. Shit's not fucking working. Apollo, sun god. He took my pussy away from me. I'm trying to get that. Boom, boom, boom. He's trying to get that. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't get it because he had the curse from Apollo, the sun god, put on him. Poor Ambrogio. He's really getting. He's writing a check. His mouth's writing a check that his ass can't cash already.
Yep.
So Hades, the god of the underworld, says, "I'll make you a fucking deal, Ambrogio. if you steal me the silver bow and arrow from Artemis and bring it, which is another god that they worship.
Yes, it is.
I'll grant you and Selene complete protection in the underworld. So Hades gave Ambrogio a magical bow and I think it was 11 magical arrows to go kill shit, to go kill animals, to give as sacrifices to Artemis. In order to gain her favor and to gain her trust and friendship, Ambrogio would kill these animals and give them to Artemis, and she would say, okay. They would start to get closer. Once she kind of let the guard down a little bit, he would steal the silver bow and arrow, take it back to Hades, and then he and Selene could live happily ever after in the underworld. Okay. Granted, it's the fucking underworld, and Hades is in charge, but they could be together for the rest of their lives. The rest of eternity, whatever.
I'm all about this story because I love the Greek gods, so I think this is really fucking fun and cool.
I don't know anything about him.
I just know everything that I've read in the Percy Jackson series.
That's exactly what we're talking about right now.
It's all about the Greek gods. It's all the same.
But Ambrogio, he was very upset. He was very, how am I going to let her know that, hey, I'm still working on her? Because that first morning she shows up, he's not there. He says, how am I going to tell her that I still fucking love her and I'm working through a process here to get myself back to her? So what does he do? He kills a swan with his magic bow and arrow that Hades gave him. He kills a swan and he uses the quill from the swan and he uses the blood from the swan to write a note for Selene to tell her what he's doing.
Okay.
But part of the deal of him venturing out from the underworld is he had to leave his soul in the cave with Hades as collateral, because Hades said, if you don't bring me back the fucking silver bow and arrow, your soul belongs with me here in the underworld for the rest of eternity. So Ambrogio had to leave his soul with Hades, and
Percy Jackson would have never done that.
No, he would not have. And Selene, when she found the message, God, was she sad. She was torn to pieces, but she was a bit of a hopeless romantic.
Oh,
she said, he's still working on me. But for 44 straight days, he did the deal with the swan. Every day he would kill a swan, use the quill and the blood, and write her a note. Every day for 44 days. And part of the deal with Hades is he had to report back with the bow and arrow in 45 days.
Okay.
Or else his soul belonged to Hades. On the last day, he went to take a shot at a swan, and he missed. So his last arrow from his quiver, I know I said that there was initially 11 arrows. There must have been 45. But his last arrow went astray. He missed the swan, and he wept because it was his last arrow. And Artemis saw him, and Artemis was very impressed by all the loyalty and dedication that he had shown up until this point. So Artemis wanted to help him.
Good guy, Artemis.
Ambrogio, being the sly, I said, I need to use your silver bow and arrow to kill another swan. Artemis said, that's fine. I trust you, my faithful servant. All these sacrifices you've brought upon me, everything that you've done to prove your loyalty, I will let you use my silver bow and arrow. So what this motherfucker do? He took that shit and took off running.
Damn it.
The sun must have been down because he can't feel the sun. He took the bow and arrow and he took off running in a feverish sprint back to the cave of Hades. But Artemis immediately knew what was going on, and she cast a curse upon Ambrogio as he was running back to the cave. The curse that she cast, all silver that he ever touched would cause him to burn profusely to the point he couldn't move.
Of all the spells,
he fell to the ground.
Curses.
He fell to the ground in pain. He couldn't even hold the bow for a fraction of a second.
If he was smart, he'd use his loincloth to hold it.
He'd piss on it. He'd create a film of
his greasy, nasty
pizza piss,
viscous piss.
Artemis caught up to him and said, Ambrogio, what the fuck are you doing? Everything you've done for me, and then you're going to take my silver bow and arrow and run off like that?
Right.
And Ambrogio, being a little rat snitch that he is, explained everything, the deal that he had with Hades.
Hades is the underminder here.
That Hades had sent him to retrieve the silver bow and arrow. That none of this would have happened if it wouldn't have been for the underdoings of Hades himself. She did have pity for his soul, And in turn, she made him a great hunter. She also gave him fangs in exchange for immortality.
Oh, shit.
So now we see how the original vampire is starting to take shape here. She said, in exchange for the immortality, in exchange for me making you the perfect hunter, in exchange for me giving you those badass canine fangs in your mouth that you have.
I want some of those.
No. You and Celine have to worship at my feet, and she has to leave the temple of Apollo.
Aww.
But the one catch out of all of this, all of the followers of Artemis were celibate and they were virgins.
Oh, okay.
So the deal was that Ambrogio and Celine, they could worship and follow her, but they could never touch her. They could never touch one another for as long as they lived.
Man.
Naturally, he agreed because he's a little rat snitch and he just does he's robbing Peter to pay Paul, and he's all fucking turned around at this point. He left her another note at this point asking her to meet him at the ships, the docks of the ships the next morning. Well, I'm sorry, that night. She got the note and she ran out of the Apollo's temple to go meet at the docks so she could get on the ship. She found his ship and she got on board and she went downstairs in the ship and he was in a coffin. Inside of the coffin, there was a note on top of the coffin and the note said, "Open this coffin only after the sun has set and we make it to our final destination."
Okay.
They did make it to where they were going, and they lived in a cave in Ephesus, and they worshipped at night. They worshipped Artemis like they were supposed to. It also says that they drank the blood of Artemis to help keep them strong and pure and faithful.
Okay.
Celine, there was a situation where Celine had Artemis or Ambrogio. He gave everything he had to become immortal.
Sure.
Celine did not share the same fate. She continued to age. So as time went on, they worshiped Ambrogio, maintained his immortality, and Celine, she started to age.
Started to get crusty.
She started to get old, crusty, dusty.
Yeah.
Had some fucking Tootsie Rolls in the underwear. Just like
had to use Astroglide.
Old people do. They get to walking. Looks like somebody knocked out a fucking ashtray in their panties.
Right.
Oh, Rob Dog. Oh, that's their favorite movie, Percy and the Pussy. At Grandma's house, she got their little DVD player down there, Rob Dog. I saw you walking in the other day when I was douching.
Jesus Christ. Do we have a name for Grandma yet?
Edna.
Edna, okay.
Grandma Edna. I said, "Oh, Rob Dog, you like it when I douche?" And Rob Dog said, "Oh, Grandma, you make me moister than an oyster." I said, "Rob Dog, we don't need a slip and slide in the backyard this year when Grandma takes her panties off and looks like someone squeezed a glazed donut on it."
Ew.
Shut the fuck up. Get out of my bathroom while I'm douching. Grandma's douching my whiskers. I gotta clean my whiskers off. All the whiskers, they catch the piss and it stinks.
Grandma Edna, jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking gross.
Papaw needs to reel you in.
He died.
Edna! Edna needs you to go sit down! You're drowning me in your glaze!
I love Krispy Kreme.
Dude.
That shit's good.
It has its moments. That's like drunk donuts. Like,
it is.
You just go to fucking Speedway, pick you up a couple fucking Krispy Kremes. Yeah, you're good.
Now, Celine, she started to age, and eventually she would die. She got there on her deathbed. She was about to die, and Artemis could see the panic in Ambrogio, and Artemis made a deal. She said, "I will help her live forever if you will just do this one last thing for me." And I don't remember what the fuck it was. I didn't write it down.
Please tell me you're fucking with me.
Well, I think the last thing he had to do was The one last thing that he had to do to make himself, I guess, to make her live forever, is he had to bite her neck and suck the blood out of her neck. His dying wife. And Artemis told Ambrosio this wouldn't kill her. This would make her immortal. Well, after he did that, she turned into the goddess of the moonlight. So she went on to live forever. But that was the story of how the first vampire.
Okay.
That's how we got our first vampire. Does it all make sense now?
It does. It makes perfect sense.
Dracula and vampire kind of made it to the mainstream in 1897. Bram Stoker's Dracula book, which was some people say was a spin-off of Vlad the Impaler. I wasn't living back then. Wasn't kicking it World War II fucking style or Civil War style back then. That's a long time ago.
A couple years before our time.
Yeah. But then that kind of translates into modern day vampirism.
Sure.
There's a lot of folklore and legend that goes around vampires, whether they fucking fly out of pumpkins as bats, whether they sleep in coffins, or they can't see their own reflection. You shove garlic in their face, they'll melt and fucking die.
Yeah.
You gotta stake them in the heart to kill them. All of these different urban legends, myths, and legends, they're all cool, man. They all tie together, and the cool thing is we don't know if it's true.
Right.
Fake, whatever it is.
You could just be riding the wave.
Yeah, riding the wave with Dave.
There you go.
If I were a vampire, that would be my name. Dave the Dracula. Hey, Dave. I think that...
why not?
Vampires in general are a really cool legend. They just got a lot of cool stories associated with them.
Absolutely. I feel like each generation, or however you want to chronologically order vampires, I feel like they get cooler and cooler as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you have, just like, we'll get into what vampires they used to be compared to what they used to be now. And now they're just like fuck machines.
They are.
Everything
like, evolves into sex.
They're beautiful, and they fuck like crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
They used to be fat and stinky, and now they're like
Pussy
hot
stinks.
and sparkly, and
yeah,
it's
not anymore.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see what the next generation of vampires
how
are
millennials evolve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think one of the most popular legends from folklore is the Romanian legend about vampires. They say that there's a really specific way to find a vampire.
Okay.
You have to have a 7-year-old boy and a white horse.
Fuck. Okay.
Get real fucking messy, if you know what I mean.
Let me see here.
And
I have a 7-year-old boy.
And your white horse.
I don't have a white horse, but I got a 7-year-old boy.
So what you do is you take them into the graveyard and you let them both wander around. And
what the fuck? Okay.
This is how you find a vampire.
You just let him fucking tromp around a graveyard.
You do.
Okay.
And when the white horse stops wandering around, whatever grave the horse is on top of,
okay,
that is the grave of a vampire.
Ah,
okay. A vampire.
So, okay. So, what is the job of the 7-year-old then at that point?
I don't know.
Okay.
The horse will not perform the duty or the deal without the 7-year-old being present.
It has to be a 7-year-old. Okay.
Pretty fucking easy to understand if you just use your brain.
It's oddly specific, but I don't know what.
This seems like one of them Jeff Epstein deals to me. You know
right,
I mean?
Exactly. You think the horse would fuck the 7-year-old, I mean.
My dad's like, I need my son, I need a horse. I'm like, I'm not falling for that shit.
Not again.
Not doing that. You ever see the size of a dick on a horse?
Fool me once, shame on me.
We should do an entire episode about how big horse wieners are.
Now we could definitely get an hour's worth of content out of that.
And at the end of the show, we'll just do a fan poll, and whoever performed the worst has to. We'll get a synthetic horse dick.
They have to be plowed.
What?
Wait, what?
That's really fucking weird. No, you get the other one gets to hit him in the back with the
okay.
Wing. Yeah,
that would suck too.
Yeah, but you immediately alluded to getting fucked with a prosthetic.
Well, I mean, that's the
No, it's not.
That's the typical way we run this shit.
That's the running jig around here.
You know how many times that light bulb right there has been in my ass? If anybody's ever seen that light bulb, that thing's huge.
I'm trying to tell them how to find vampires.
Okay, let's get back to vampires.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. We're talking about horse cocks, and my asshole just starts throbbing. I remember being a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I don't. Paralyzed in pain.
Some people get all the luck.
And I guess in European lore, and this is true even to this day, they'll do grave, exhume things from the grave.
Yeah.
And they'll find that some of these bodies are staked through the heart to keep them underground. And this is, hundreds of years ago, but there was a very common practice for them to take a wooden stake and drive it through the heart of people that have died to keep them from crawling out of their grave.
Oh, shit.
Which kind of goes along with, you got to stake a vampire in the heart. Another common practice is the Europeans, if they suspected someone of being a vampire and they didn't feel like staking their heart to the ground, they would take their skull and they would fill it full of rocks.
Damn.
And they would bury them so that way they couldn't...
There's not a lot of room in my skull.
Yeah. We can only get one rock in this one.
You know how thick my fucking skull is?
Yeah. And they would fill their heads full of rocks so they couldn't rustle around. And they would mostly do this in mass graves.
Okay.
So that the thought process was, okay, this person is in this mass grave. Mm-hmm. They're going to fucking wake up vampire style. They're going to start biting everybody down there. And then we're going to have a whole entire uprisal of vampires coming from the ground. So you know what? We said we're going to fucking throw a draw 4 card on this motherfucker. We're putting rocks in his head. They fill up their heads full of rocks. So then you're a rockhead. You're down there wallowing around. You can't get your bite on. So effectively, by filling the head full of rocks, you've saved the entire village.
Here's my train of thought with these things. I always revert back to the McDonald's coffee theory. So
you pour it on your dick and it's hot enough, you can win a lawsuit.
No, so like these things, all of these practices happened based off some sort of an event.
Something happened. Yeah, you don't put a warning label on your coffee if nobody's ever in the history of people burned themselves with that said coffee. Yeah. You don't stake someone through the heart if a dead body has never came out of the ground. Sometimes I get gas on my way home from work. Right. Instead of having to get it the next morning. Getting it on my way home from work is going out of my way. Sure, yeah. Getting it on my way to work, that's kind of like I got to fucking do it. People don't go out of their way to put rocks in people's heads. Right, and put a stake through their fucking heart. Yeah. I mean, preemptive thinking is one thing, but I mean, I didn't bury my grandma and think that I needed to fucking put a stake in her heart beforehand. Hey, when this is all done, you're done reading from your little Bible thing, I got some shit I got to do before we put her in there. Yeah. I mean, like, it makes you wonder, like, how? Like, what happened? What happened for them to start filling heads full of rocks? And you know, the crazy part is it's not like this is not a thing of legend. These are bodies that they've exhumed. Sure. And they've found that the fucking heads are full of rocks and they got stakes through their hearts. So the shit happens. Right. But yeah, and it makes you wonder what caused them to start doing that. There had to have been some event. They're vampires, dude. It's pretty simple to me. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You ain't got to read between the lines in this. Sure. One. I'm not reading between the lines. I'm just saying, you guys got to fucking use your brains. I have to pee so bad. Hey, usually it's me. Let's go ahead, man. Okay. Take a break. Okay. I made a little pee-pee. We're back. Made a little pee-pee. Not a big pee-pee. Nah. And that kind of caveats into today's vampires. And we talk about in the interview with Astaroth. It's more of a sex appeal, sexually driven practice with vampires this day because despite what you think, we have about, I'll get into the statistics in a second. And Twilight had a lot to do with the over-sexualization of vampires. Oh, yeah. I don't know who any of those people are in that movie, but I want to have sex with every single one of them. I was never a huge... I never got into Twilight. I was a huge True Blood fan. That's what they're watching right now upstairs. No, they're watching Vampire Diaries. So. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit different. But yeah, True Blood is HBO, so that's like titties galore. Love True Blood. I read all the books and everything. So I mean, I was a huge True Blood fan. Yeah, super sexualization of vampires. I like it, and I was about it. Yeah, I was about it. Even Interview with the Vampire. There's a couple
Brad Pitt.
sexy scenes
In fact,
in there.
he fucking making out with Kristen Dunst when she was like 12.
Yeah, that's a good movie too, though.
It is good.
Very good movie.
Brad Pitt, man.
But to this day, right now, they're covens. That's what you call a group of vampires. You know, a pack
Or
buffalo-
witches.
Yeah, it's a coven of vampires. They still exist, and they're even Astaroth spoke about the ones called lifestylers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get dressed up in all black and put on your fake teeth and your eyeliner, and you go out on the weekends and you listen to goth, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a vampire." Rob was one of these in high school.
When I was a young boy, my
Yeah.
father took me into the city.
Yeah, that's a really good band. I love Mayday
To
Parade.
see. Don't ever
What?
disgrace Mayday Parade.
That's who
My
it was?
Chemical Romance.
Oh, My Chemical Romance. Sorry, man. Sorry, bro. Sorry, music guy. You know, you're making a podcast with a non-music guy.
That was a band My Chemical Romance I never got into.
I liked him. I like Mayday Parade, too.
I love Mayday Parade. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Love Mayday Parade. Not anymore, but loved their first couple albums.
Yeah. So these days, modern vampires claim that without their daily, weekly, or sometimes just monthly dosage of feeding, yes, feeding, they drink the fucking blood, they can't function. Dracula is a fictional story, but this is a real story. Romanians believe that vampires exist, and this is a little story I got from Reddit, of all places.
Go figure, us and Reddit. No way.
Someone wrote and said, Rob's stories was
Yeah.
read on another... I'm like,
It's called the Let's Not Meet podcast. I am literally getting these stories off the Let's Not Meet subreddit.
yeah, they're just stories from Reddit. So
Yeah, exactly.
Other people have access to these stories. Rob is not writing these. I'm not writing these.
Not at all.
We should start writing our own, though.
That's too much work.
You're exactly right.
We don't have enough time.
We call them strigoi.
Wait, where are we at?
This fucking word right here.
I
What?
lost my spot.
Strigoi.
Strigoi?
Strigoi. We'll call it the
This is
strigoi.
what I say, Strigoi.
The ones who scream. That's the translation of the word. Strigoi are evil spirits that come at night to torment people by calling out their names.
He was a Strigoi. I said, see you later, boy. Okay, sorry.
Strigoi are thirsty for blood, just as vampires.
Oh.
Can I make it any more obvious?
I sang that song because that was my philosophy for the pronunciation of that word.
Yeah.
Because it's Skater
It looks like-
B-O-I.
It looks like skater boy.
So I was like, okay, why not? Love Avril.
Yeah. They can come in human or animal form. Strigoi are completely free on the St. Andrew's night, 30th of November to be exact.
Okay.
Our type of Halloween.
I can't wait to celebrate that this year.
My great-grandmother told me my great-grandmother told my mom that she heard a Strigoi calling out her name.
And this is a Reddit story, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She said it was very important to remain silent, otherwise bad things could happen. They have the power to cause health issues to the people who respond to their calling. When my mom was a child, the whole community, along with the priest, went to the cemetery to kill a vampire.
Oh, man.
A man from the village died.
Yeah.
He was a sinner, or so everyone said. His family started to experience weird things. They would hear him calling out their names. Soon all the members of the family fell ill. That's how they decided that their relative was a Strigoi. My mother remembers that they used a wood stake to kill that creature.
Yes.
She remembers some noises coming from the grave. That was the one. My great-grandmother was there too. She said that the man looked like he was sleeping, even though there were 6 months since he was deceased.
Excuse me.
A recent survey by the Atlanta Vampire Alliance showed that there are as many as 5,000 vampires residing in the United States of America.
that number right there.
Oh, yeah, I read
That is not 5,000.
500,000K.
That's 5,000K. That's 5 million.
5 billion, 5 trillion.
But I do want to go back a little bit, and I want to say this person. No, the Reddit story here. My grandmother said or told my mom that she heard a Strigoi calling out her name. I wish that I would have grown up in a family where they had these sweet beliefs based off of cryptids or otherworldly creatures.
Just live your life in constant fucking fear.
Exactly.
Paralyzed by the belief that something in the woods is going to kill you.
I'll tell you what.
Sounds great for a childhood, Rob.
I would not have been smoking weed out of a pop can under a bridge walking to school.
I'd have been sucking dick for fucking cab money to get the fuck out of there is what I would be doing.
Sucking dick for prayers. One head job is one prayer.
The Pilata man pulls up. Senora, you want some ice cream? And I'm just like, no, senor. I want to suck your dick for money. He says, oh, no, senor, you're too porky.
The hearse goes by. And there's like, one blow job for one prayer, sir.
Yeah, please.
He's like, okay. You got it, boy.
That stuff never worked out for me when I was younger.
Hey, that's a Vatican child rape joke.
We got 5,000 practicing vampires in the United States of America.
5,000?
It's a lot.
No, it's not.
5,000 vampires live among us, Rob Dog. It's not like the Among Us game with little spermies are running around. 5,000 fucking practicing vampires.
Within a mile of us, there's more than 5,000 people. It's like you're like fear mongering for 5,000 people. I love it.
Some modern day vampires are lucky enough to find willing donors, and I'm a willing donor. If you would like a very plump and delicious meal for your next vampire feeding, call me, brohiopodcast@gmail.com.
Oh yeah, both of us, man.
And I'll be there. And some donors give their blood pro bono, which means they get a boner before they give it. Some of you are not familiar with Pig Latin. I am, so.
Pro bono means if you get a boner, it's better for them.
No, pro bono is what you call a porn star boner.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Boner.
Yeah. Professional boner.
Others have to pay for blood with cash or
ass. Ass, grass, or cash, buddy.
Yeah, they have to offer sexual favors for the blood. The blood gives the vampire energy and life, oftentimes needing doses 2 to 3 times per week of fresh blood from humans.
That falls in line with True Blood's ideology.
One vampire interviewed said that when they went to he went to the ER due to an extremely low heart rate. The heart rate would jump up to 160 when he stood up. What the ER workers found is that his heart was ceasing to work. It was not working anymore, all because he was trying to refrain from taking in fresh blood from humans.
Okay.
So it fucks him up. It fucks him up real bad. The same study says that there's around 10,000 practicing non-blood drinking vampires in the United States.
But there's only 5,000 in total. How does that work?
No, 5,000 blood drinkers.
Oh, okay.
10,000 non-blood drinkers.
Okay.
And I would like to say, while we've made it an hour into this,
already?
I say we go the rest of the length of the show without making a period reference because I don't like periods.
By the end of this, can we drink each other's blood?
Yeah, I do it.
Do you have a needle?
I don't need a needle.
Let's be blood brothers.
I bite my fingernails enough. I can make some blood. Blood brother. When Zach Galifianakis cuts his hand and hang over, it says, "Blood brothers." That look on his face, it fucking cracks me up so bad. Oh, so instead of...
I mean, we're already butthole brothers. We might as well be...
Butthole brothers.
Yeah, might as well be blood brothers.
It's where you fart into each other's buttholes. And the 10,000 non-blood drinkers, and you guys are going to hear this in the interview with Astaroth, instead of harvesting blood, they harvest energy as other means. There's different styles of vampires. There's lifestylers, which are drawn to prosthetic dicks, fangs. They don't consume blood at all. They wear black garb. They wear the clear contacts. That's what you call a lifestyler.
Yeah, so they're like the people now that like the 12 and 13-year-olds that wear the Metallica shirts and
scene kids.
Yeah, no, not scene kids.
Yes. Were you a scene kid?
I wasn't a scene kid, but I was a scene music kid, if that makes sense.
You're a scene kid.
I could never get my hair to do the swoop.
Oh yeah,
but
all right.
So yeah, but I I guess aesthetically I dressed like them, yes. Yeah. And
So
I loved the bands.
So yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't full scene.
Okay.
Never dyed my hair black or anything.
Debatable.
It's okay. Yeah.
The other two types of vampires are sanguinarian vampires and psychic vampires, which we talked to a psychic vampire.
Yes, we did.
At the end of this episode.
I feel like that's the best type of vampire.
And, and I told him I was really uncertain of what psychic vampires are. He kind of differentiated about the things that I read about.
He did break it down into pretty much 3 categories, which is kind of what we're doing right here. And even before I'm assuming, you definitely did your research before we interviewed him. So he pretty much is corroborating the story that you're giving here.
And without, I guess, their daily feeding,
these are the blood drinkers.
Yeah, the blood drinkers, they consider the blood is like a vital life force of energy that they need. And without feeding, the vampires will become lethargic, sickly, depressed, and often go through physical suffering or discomfort, much like a heroin withdrawal is how they explain it. Self-identified real vampires use the word vampire in a metaphorical sense because they don't consider themselves to have supernatural powers or to be immortal beings. So there's the realization there that the vampires that we're classically thinking about, the immortal beings that live in the darkness, it's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. Most sanguinarian vampires require strict medical screening from their donors and for the blood that they do consume.
Yes.
They draw the blood through biting. They say that the biting process is not sanitary or a safe practice. They oftentimes use medical lancets or sterilized blades. They'll make a small slit in the back, and that's where they'll consume the blood from. And this is a quote from the vampire that was interviewed in the article that I read. The overwhelming majority of self-identified vampires adhere to ethical and safe feeding practices, are of sound mind and judgment, and productively contribute to society. He says the process begins with him running his fingers over the skin to feel a connection being established that will help draw for the blood. A calming, energetic vibration or tingling sensation fused with an intense heightening of virtually all of my senses envelopes me when I've fed at a deep level with someone whose etheric body aligns with my own, he writes.
I'm going to be 100% honest. That gave me a boner.
Yeah, I want to drink somebody's blood now.
I've never thought about drinking someone's blood, but...
Sounds hot, dude.
I'm like Stonehenge right now.
If tonight my wife's like, cut my fucking shoulder and drink me.
Cut my fucking wrist.
Cut my butt.
Cut my butt. Give me a butt cut.
Cut my fucking butt. You fucking...
Slice me from cooter to pooter.
That's the nastiest thing I heard.
That's so gross. Why did I say that?
Toby, that's so nasty, Toby.
Why did I say that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you guys. I had to listen to that.
Cooter to the pooter. If you've ever cut yourself from your cooter to your pooter, send us an email, broilpodcast@gmail.com. No.
I get like 1 to 3 quotable lines like per year. So that I feel like that's like I just met my quota.
I like it.
Cooter to pooter.
That's kind of like an episiotomy where you're having a baby and they slit your taint.
They have to snip. Yeah, we had a friend that told me about that. That I never knew that was a thing until there's this girl that I was friends with told me that she had to have her thing snipped because she couldn't get the baby out.
Babies break your pussy, bro.
I'm sitting here thinking like, she got a fucking tight ass pussy.
I don't know if that's how it works, buddy.
I think it is.
I have no idea.
If you got a floppy one, I don't think it's
floppy.
Just walk out.
Floppy's what I use to describe a dick.
Next to the Charleston. Out.
How would you describe your vagina in one word?
Floppy.
Floppy? Oh no. Shit looks like it's been ran through.
All vaginas are beautiful.
Most. This vampire goes on to say that the play is for energy and not for sex. Now we go into psychic vampires, which this butts heads with what how Astaroth explained it. Psychic vampires are people who emotionally drain the energy out of their other people around them. So this is more of a psychological diagnosis for some people. Psychic vampires' attack can be intentional, or it can be a metaphor for a bad friend who's always taking more from a relationship than they give. In some cases, it can be totally unintentional. They might be dealing with depression or other personal issues, but some people actively drain the energy out of their victims on purpose.
Oh, damn.
Both can be classified as psychic vampires. Psychic vampire is a pretty vague term that can include a normal person who's just in a bad mood, all the way up to people intentionally trying to steal your life force energy. It doesn't matter which one you're dealing with. The process is pretty much the same.
We do talk a little bit about that was one of my questions going into the interview was, how do you differentiate the energies that you're gathering? And I think you even said anything about, like, you know, if you're just picking up nothing but negative energy, what do you do? And
I feel like it's like the gas for a car. There's good gas and there's bad gas.
Right, exactly. And
much like eating at Waffle House, you're gonna get gas.
You'll get that answer with our interview here.
Yeah, so stick around for the interview. It's gonna be a really good time. I think we are going to we're gonna share our Zoom link on Patreon.
All
It'll
right,
be a great time for everybody.
Yeah.
So here's the interview with Astaroth. Stick around, guys. Tell them the good news, Rob.
Fucking love you.
I know a lot of us are going through some really tough things right now, guys. I'm right there with you. But our friends at BetterHelp are here to help all of us today. There might be something interfering with your happiness or something that's preventing you from achieving your goals. BetterHelp is here for you today, right now. BetterHelp is not self-help. It is professional counseling. You're going to get timely and thoughtful responses from your counselor. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. They're here to help you out with stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping problems, trauma, self-esteem, grief, no matter what it is. It's all going to be completely confidential, convenient, professional, and affordable. They're going to be able to help you guys no matter what it is that you're going through. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I want you to start living a happier life today, and as a listener of the Brohio podcast, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/Brohio. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/Brohio. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Brohio. And this episode of the Brohio podcast is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us. Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger, and longer-lasting erections. Oh, yeah. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no awkward visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your frickin' front door in a discreet package. And I just got back from my 10-year anniversary with my wife, and let me tell you, we took it to the limit, and I could not have done it without Blue Chew. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we've got a special deal for the listeners of the Brohio podcast. Try Blue Chew for free. Yeah, free. No cost. When you use our promo code BROHIO at checkout, just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Use the promo code BROHIO to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Brohio podcast. Nothing could be better in terms of underwear than an underwear that was designed and developed by over 400,000 different men. That's right, community-created underwear. And that's what our friends at Tebow Underwear is giving to us. Tebow Underwear is developed by a community of customers to improve previous versions and also develop new versions through their online platform. Tebow is a leader in community-led production of men's bodywear, and they're leading the movement to have this as the future of all clothing production. For me, it's happened before. I've purchased clothing online, underwear. I've got them. They feel terrible. They look terrible. You feel yucky wearing them. That's not going to happen at Tebow Clothing, because whenever you get these, you put these on, you're going to feel the magic. They're going to feel completely perfect up against your package. They're going to lift you up. It's going to accentuate your bulge. Oh, the confidence that comes with Tebow underwear. By purchasing your first Tebow product, you gain entry to this community where you give the ultimate testimonial, but helping to co-create new products that you think and others will enjoy. Tebow underwear offers superior cut and bamboo material that is softer and more durable than your average underwear. Additionally, a cool fact, because it's like 90,000 degrees outside right now, it uses 20 times less water than cotton fabric, which contributes to the sustainability of the environment. But right now, guys, you're going to get 20% off your next purchase at tbobodywear.com. That's tbobodywear.com by using the discount code BROHIO, BROHIO. That's tbobodywear.com. Use the promo code BROHIO. And we're here with a star of the episode. We had to scour the earth from end to end to find a real-life vampire for this episode.
We found one.
Astaroth, welcome to the BROHIO podcast.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, I know. Don't be nervous. Just let it all hang out, okay? Let it all hang out for us.
Yep, you got it.
So in the last episode, we were like talking about, I'd love to talk to a real fucking vampire. And then Astaroth wrote us an email and he said, "Oh, well, I might be exactly what you're looking for." And he was very cunning and sly in his emails. And before I knew it, my pants are off, and I don't know where Astaroth is at in the world. I don't know if Astaroth is riding a fucking asteroid across the universe, but whatever he did to me, it worked. So is that how it's pretty much been your entire life, Astaroth? You just talk the panties off anybody that is willing to talk to you?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You just talk the panties off of everyone like that, like you did me, or was that just for me?
Well, seduction is part of being a vampire.
I love it. Now, whenever, I guess, like, and I told you this, kind of going through the research on this was really difficult. And when we first dialed you up here, you said, yeah, there's not a lot of stuff out there. You said there's a lot of things that aren't true. And I did read a lot of things that I'm like, man, it just doesn't quite fit for me. But then specifically you being a psychic vampire, and that was the hardest one to find information about. I got a lot of bullshit, I can tell, but go ahead.
So let's clarify the difference betwing the vampire and you said you're a vampire. Let's make that. Let's set that distinction up.
That's a good place to start too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think we should start.
There's generally like 3 different types of vampires. There's like lifestyle vampires, which are the people that like to dress up and wear teeth or fangs and ooga booga and all that stuff. And I'm not one of those. You would not be able to tell that I was a vampire if you met me, unless I told you.
Yeah.
There is psychic vampires, which are more like the type of people that kind of just drain you of your energy when you interact with them. When you leave, you're kind of like, wow, that was a pretty terrible experience. I don't really want to hang out with them again. I feel tired and shitty in general.
That's how I feel with Rob.
And then there is what I am, which is just, it's pronounced vampire, but we spell it with a Y just to differentiate it from lifestylers and fictional vampires.
I like that, though. So is the first group you talked about, are they looked down upon? Are they like the posers of the vampire world?
Sometimes, yeah. Okay. Other times, there are people like, if you look up Father Sebastian on the interweb, he has a lot of YouTube interviews, and he's written good books and a bunch of stuff. And he does both the lifestyling and what I do.
Oh, okay.
He's actually what you call a fangsmith, so he actually will custom make fangs for you. It's a super craftsman art. It's great.
That's pretty cool.
He looks like a pretty handsome devil. I haven't pulled up
really
my
does.
screen here.
Yeah. So what I do is less of the drain you, make you feel shitty kind of thing. And I kind of feed off of the excess energy that you give off, because everyone is always giving off energy, whether they want to or not.
Okay.
So if you've heard of auras, imagine like an aura leaking energy out and just kind of leaving it in spaces. I kind of take more of that stuff.
Gotcha.
And how?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like, I guess the blood consumption and what you do, and you said you just kind of you absorb energy opposed to, I guess, directly partaking in the blood. What keeps you away from, I guess, consuming blood?
There's just no need for it. You don't get anything extra from blood that you don't get from just absorbing regular energy.
And when I was reading,
some people claim they do.
Okay.
And when I was reading, it said that that's the main focus of consuming the blood is absorbing the energy of other people. And there was one forum I was on, and people are quite picky about the, I guess the energy level of the people they're consuming, the donors they call them, that they're consuming the blood from. Because if you get someone that's just like lays there, like if they got rigor mortis, like they're half dead, that's not good energy that you're absorbing. You got to find people that are.
Are you able to control the energy in which you take in, like as to what, like just like you were saying, like what Nick just mentioned, like let's say you have an overabundance of like excitement, excited energy or high energy as opposed to low energy.
Yeah, so I'm very particular about the types of energy that I absorb. I just kind of go about it in there's a positive energy way and a negative energy. And when you absorb energy, you kind of have to absorb it all as it comes.
Okay.
But you can neutralize the bad energy.
Okay.
Which is a specific technique that you have to really practice that in order to get it.
Gotcha.
But it is doable.
That's kind of what I was curious as is how you can control what you are absorbing, or if you can just sense the good versus the bad and you can cherry pick from there.
Yeah, as far as sensing the good versus the bad, it's kind of just if you get a bad feeling like anxiety, stress, or just general uneasiness about something, it's probably not a good thing for you. So you avoid that. So you look at energy the same way. If it makes you feel not great, then you don't use that and you don't absorb that.
Okay.
So from the stories of long ago, hundreds of years ago, the stories of vampires kind of sleeping in coffins and sneaking through the night and biting people. When did do you think those stories are true? And when did that, I guess, the practices of a modern vampire, when did they change opposed to what they were hundreds of years ago?
So as far as like actual vampires creeping in your bedroom and biting your neck and sucking your blood, no, I don't think that ever really happened. I mean, I'm sure there was the odd one out serial killer type that did do that.
Yeah.
But not as a vampire.
Okay.
And as far as modern day stuff, it really started around the early 80s. The whole like occult thing really started in the 60s through the 80s. And it really kicked up in the 90s with the nightclub scenes and all that.
Yeah.
Actually, Father Sebastian really had a huge hand in kind of uniting all the different vampire groups and getting them together and kind of putting a structure to it.
Okay.
And not that there's one big vampire cabal or whatever,
yeah.
But now it's not so much people just sitting in their basements role-playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Sign me up.
Don't get me wrong, many people do play that game still,
no.
But
I get it. Whenever, do you have like I keep on reading a coven of vampires. Do you have a group, or acquaintance, a circle that you hang out with? Maybe not necessarily just vampires, but maybe people that practice the occult, whether it be witches or fairies or vampires. What kind of people do you concern yourself with in your social circles, if you don't mind me asking?
So in my social circle, there's not really anyone that's involved in the occult.
Okay.
I've been involved with the occult since I was in high school. My first group that I had ever joined was called the Temple of the Vampire, which is an offshoot of the Church of Satan.
Okay.
And there, I ended up leaving there after about 6 months because it was very clearly a cult. And I'm not trying to drink Kool-Aid or
that kind of cult.
ride an asteroid to some alien civilization or any of that shit.
No, I want to do that.
If it was grape Kool-Aid, I don't know, man. I don't think I could turn it down.
Yep.
Now, what got you kind of, I guess, in the first place? And you said you left because it was a cult, but what kind of got you with those guys and girls in the first place? What led you down that path initially?
So my first real experience with the occult would be reading the Satanic Bible when I was probably 15 or 16 at the time when I read that.
Mm-hmm.
I read it and I kind of just agreed with everything that was in the book. I was like, this pretty much reflects who I am and how I view the world and everything. Other than, Satan worshiping and all that stuff, which the Church of Satan does not do.
Yeah.
Big
The Church of
misconception
Satan
there.
is actually a bunch of atheists that just like to be edgy.
Yeah. It's a big misconceptions there.
Do you think the vampire lifestyle was something that you were kind of born into, or you think that's something you chose during your travels throughout life?
I've always had a propensity to sense and use and absorb and put out energy ever since I was little. But the decision to actually get involved with vampire practice was something that I thought about and had to learn how to do. It's not really something that you're born into.
Okay. I got you. Now I'm going to
You can be born with the tendencies, but
yeah,
to really do vampirism is something you have to learn.
you have to work towards it. Okay.
Right.
Now I'm going to start to get a little nitty gritty with my questions because I know we have some good ones for you. But have you ever partaken in blood before, or is that something you've completely steered clear of your entire life?
I have steered clear of that my entire life, and I have no plans to start in the future.
What's kept you away from that? Because when I read in the forums, they're like it's the ultimate high in terms of what you're trying to experience, but then you see it another way. What's keeping you away from that?
It's really dangerous.
Yeah, I'd say
not
so.
in any esoteric or occult way. I'm just not trying to get AIDS.
Yeah, and
that's a big thing.
That's one of the biggest things when I was reading about people that practice vampirism that are wealthy. They have a lot. There's a more of a, I guess, propensity to consume the blood because they can buy it from people and they can pay to have people tested and the proper medical exams for someone to go through to say, hey, their blood's okay to consume in the event that that's something you want to do. But then I've also read a lot of people, in order to once they try it, it's kind of a thing. It's almost like an addictive drug. They'll kind of resort to consuming animal blood. Is that something you're familiar with? Is the consumption of animal blood?
Not in any respectable vampire circles.
Oh, really?
So that's like the
there's
redneck
definitely
vampires.
darker groups that do that, but no one of sound mind looks at them and goes, "Yeah, they're doing it right."
Okay.
Is there do you know, and that I guess is kind of crazy, and is there a certain animal that they look for when they're trying to consume blood?
I do not know the answer to that.
Okay, I can respect that. I appreciate your honesty, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions that, maybe not necessarily things you have experience with, but this is all new to us, man. I was having such a hard time.
I feel like goat would be the right answer for that question.
Right?
Yeah, you would almost think goat, because
Yeah.
the whole
It has to be a black goat.
yeah, exactly.
Black goat with red eyes.
With red eyes, exactly.
This whole, I guess the practice of vampirism, it all feels very sexually charged and sexually driven to me. And I could be wrong about that, but in your mind, is it Is it? Do you feel like it's sexually driven, or is that just something I'm kind of crazy for thinking?
I would substitute the word sexual for sensual.
Yeah. Yeah, now you're getting me fucking hard, Astaroth.
I mean, it could be, and that very well could be the fact that we've been accustomed to pop culture, like True Blood and Twilight and all those movies
Sparkly vampires.
Yeah, that over-sexualize the vampires. I mean, that very well could be.
I want to fuck a vampire for sure.
So actually, originally, vampires were super fat and ugly and gross.
Like me.
I mean, sure. I wouldn't say that.
It's all right.
So they used to be depicted as very fat and like gorged on blood, kind
like
of
a tick.
decaying and old because they're dead.
Yeah.
It wasn't until really Bram Stoker's Dracula that the vampire started getting sexy.
Okay.
And even then, if you read his book, Dracula's not described as attractive. Like, he has a mustache and long hair and very bushy eyebrows. And he's very pale. Not what I would imagine most people are looking for in a guy.
Sure.
Okay. Well, speak for yourself, Astaroth. Jeez.
I've been to tons of black metal shows, so I can assume I know exactly the type of early vampires you're talking about.
Oh, man.
The original vampires also had puffy nipples.
Of course they did.
Fuck them then. Fuck them for sure.
That's why they store the extra blood.
There you go.
They're vats. Now, my next question, this is, like I said, I told you it's going to get a little more nitty gritty here, but in terms of like you obtaining lovers in your life, we haven't discussed your marital status or anything like that, but through the years, and that's assuming that you have experience in life. Whenever you, I guess, the night is going, you've met someone that you're having fun with, whether that be someone you've met online or out at the club, do you, I guess, are your intentions to share that sensual, like, energy absorption whenever you're out partying with them? Or is it like, no, I'm trying to get my fuck on? Or is it you resort more to, like, the sensual process of absorbing their energy opposed to just, like, a fucking on a one-night stand?
All of the above.
Okay.
So if it was a one-night stand, I would still be able to get energy from that. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out thing. I can take energy from you just walking by you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a long process with me, buddy. I promise you that.
So is it something where you're looking for someone like-minded as you, or is it just will a normie do as well?
Yeah, normal people are fine. It's really, it depends on my needs. Like, if I'm doing a specific magical working that requires a lot of energy, then I'll probably be looking for more people to take energy from, or places to take energy from, events or whatever. Unless I'm getting a really bad feeling from a person, it's generally fair game.
Wow. And I guess in relation to your normal lovers throughout your life, have your normal lovers kind of been like, oh my God, what the fuck just happened? Or has it just been kind of a run-of-the-mill type sexual experience for them?
I have gotten probably no less than a 4-star review in that department.
That's about the size of mine too.
But yeah, in general, my partners are pretty impressed.
Now, with you being able to essentially consume this energy, is this something else that your partners can pick up on as well? Like, can they? Is it almost like it radiates from you as well?
I have a very magnetic personality, and that's very common amongst vampires.
Okay,
we're very charismatic in groups of people. I never really had a person, other than maybe exes that it didn't go so well with, really dislike me.
Okay.
And I've heard the same thing from other vampires that I've talked to in the past. generally their work lives are going great, social lives are great, love lives are great. Yeah, people generally just tend to like vampires, whether they know it or not.
Oh, so
you're pretty much like a level 99 empath.
I'm thinking level 69 probably.
Hey.
I am not yet a master vampire.
Now, like I said, you're kind of suave and cunning. If I met you, you and I work together, and I'm just meeting you for the first few days. I'm getting to know you. Would I assume something different about you, or would it be hard to? Would I be presumptuous at that point? Are you kind of like?
I think I'd want to fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be frank.
Do you?
You would probably notice something, but you wouldn't be able to put your finger on it.
Okay.
People have told me before, like, just, I don't know, but there's something really about you. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's something. Now, do you hang out with a large group of people, or how is your social life?
I have a lot of acquaintances, but I keep my actual friend group fairly small and tight-knit.
Okay. Would you let me and Rob into that small circle?
I'd have to initiate you into the vampire ways.
God, I'm so.
What does that entail?
You won't find out until you do it.
Oh man,
that's where the goat comes into play.
It's like the no going.
Say, pick your color.
Yeah, it's like the no going back.
I guess, have you ever been in? I would imagine you've already said you've associated yourself with other vampires at some point, but have you ever been part of maybe a process or a situation where you're just like, okay, and also, sorry to run in circles here, but you've dabbled in the occult for a long time, so that maybe not necessarily just in terms of being
far past dabbling.
Yeah, okay, maybe not just in terms of a vampire, but have you ever been part of a ceremony or a process where you're like, okay, this is too fucking much for me, and I probably need to remove myself from this situation?
I've never gotten to that point. I've gone through many initiations. I've been a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. I was a Freemason for many years, which I'm probably going to get back into doing that too. I was in the Temple of the Vampire, but they don't meet in person. The Golden Dawn and Freemasonry does. I've also been a member of a Rosicrucian order. The closest I ever came to a situation where I was in a ceremony and it got a little too intense was my Golden Dawn initiation. But it wasn't because of anything that any of the members were doing. It was the ceremony itself. It was just very spiritually intense.
Don't they like drink period blood and eat piss and stuff? I could be wrong here, but
nope. So in the Golden Dawn, they actually drink very delicious wine.
Oh, sign me the fuck up for that.
Yeah. And Freemasonry, nothing really sinister about it. It's really mostly, the rituals are kind of silly, but
yeah, I've heard that before.
So
yeah,
piggybacking.
When you go through them the first time, it's good and really insightful, but after that, you're like, it's kind of silly, guys.
Sure.
Piggybacking off of that, is there anything, being, obviously neither Nick nor I are ever dabbled in the occult, or as you say, well past dabbled. Is there anything being so far in that you would hear normal people talk about that just, it's almost laughable, that the certain ideas that people have, or like the big rumor that you for sure know is just like that's cap, dog.
I'm sorry I didn't hear that last part.
I was just pretty much just saying, is there anything that that normal people would think that's just that for sure is just a load of shit?
Well, the whole there is a satanic cabal in control of the world. guiding every event that ever happens. Most of those groups can't even figure out their scheduling to get to their meetings.
Okay.
So I don't know how the fuck they're going to control the world. They can't decide what they want for dinner either.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind when I'm taking over the world.
Yep. So you're all perfectly safe.
That's good. Now, I kind of, I guess, asked about it earlier. This being like a very sexually driven process. Is it like?
You're all about the sexuality on
no,
this one.
It's okay. I think, but I feel like that's what it is. It's
I get it.
And he said it's not you alluded it's more of a sensual thing. Are these sensual, I guess, get-togethers? Are these common, I guess, group, I don't want to call them orgies, but do you guys, I guess, get together in groups often? Or is this more of like harnessing this energy by yourself is kind of your responsibility?
I personally am more of a solitary practitioner.
Yeah.
If I ran into someone that was also doing the same work that I'm doing, I would definitely talk to them and pick their brain about stuff. But as far as orgies and stuff, the people that are involved in the occult, a lot of them do attend and organize orgies, but it's not as part of the organization. It's just a side interest that they have.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that I would get kicked out of an orgy. Like this guy brought fucking Funyuns.
I have been invited to a couple, and I decline the invitation every time. I'm just not thrilled about who was going to be there.
I feel like that's something more that the blood drinkers are going to be doing.
I do too.
So blood drinking is from the research that I've done on it, because I've never done it myself.
Sure.
It seems to be very intimate and one-on-one.
Okay.
Like I said, I've never done it, so I don't know for sure. But
there's a misconception.
I've watched and read.
You know,
Gotcha.
And when I was reading through it as well, I was reading through the process of consuming another person's blood, and the process, like he said, is so sensual and such a seductive process that by the time I was done reading about it, I was like, oh man, I think I'd like to fucking try this sometime. And I think
I mean, if you talk to people that consume blood, they'll tell you, oh, everyone should try it once. I don't know about that.
Now, Astaroth, if you found the perfect donor or candidate in the perfect situation, would you be completely against it, or would you try it once?
I think I would still say no.
Okay.
What if it was me?
I think that would be a hard no.
You worry about your cholesterol or something, or what the
fuck? Now,
no. If I were to even consider it, it would have to be with like a significant other that I've been with for years.
Gotcha.
See,
that I know has no diseases and all that stuff.
Sure.
You're gonna be hunting tonight.
I like how careful you are. Like that's
it's a big commitment.
It's that's I respect it.
Yeah, I would hate to try it once and end up being the guy that gets herpetogonosyphilis.
Right, yeah.
You could give it to us. We cure it.
Yeah. Well, that's some high-level magic that I don't know about yet.
Yeah. And now I guess that was kind of where I was going with my next question in terms of magic, I guess, and the practices that you do. What type of things have you done, I guess, magic-wise, that have maybe changed your life for the good, or what have you done that have, I guess, I'm not sure what all your travels entail is what I'm asking.
I've done a lot of different kinds of magic. I've done curses, I've done blessings, I've done stuff to get a job, I've done protection work. A lot of it is like self-initiatory work, like doing personal work on myself and how I process things.
Okay.
Different habits that I have. I've used magic to break bad habits.
Yeah.
Purifying houses. The possibilities run the gamut.
I was gonna say that's a good
it is.
It's like a good cover all of self-improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some people look at magic as less of a like magical mystical thing and more of a practical psychology thing,
Okay.
where you just go into a deep kind of hypnotic state and kind of do your self work in your subconscious when you can't normally do that during the day when you're out and about doing your work and running errands and all that stuff.
It seems like you'd be a big advocate for meditation for everyone else.
Meditation is a very big part of being a vampire.
Okay. I respect
big.
that.
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, definitely. Me too.
There's so many fucking questions right now.
Yeah.
So many questions.
Keep them coming.
Have you ever helped friends or acquaintances or family kind of with, I don't want to say indirectly, but have you helped them, I guess, just someone that needed help, I guess, and you said, you know what, I can help you, but this may not be something you necessarily know about me.
I've absolutely done that before.
Okay. What did you tell them kind of what you were doing, or did you just kind of do it in the background?
I generally don't do stuff for people without their permission.
Oh, very good.
Because I would not want them to do it for me without permission.
Yeah.
I would never tell someone that I was going to curse them though, or curse someone for them or anything.
Will you curse
curses are kept under wraps.
Will you curse somebody for us?
Well, how much money you got?
What's the going rate for
at least $5.
At least $5.
Let's talk after this.
Yeah. And in terms of, I guess, the energy absorption that you speak of in terms of being a psychic vampire, do you think that is it always a sexual or sensual process, or do you have a means of absorbing energy from other people without it being, I guess, a sexual or sensual process?
So when I say sensual, I mean that to include sexual, but it doesn't have to be sexual.
That's my problem. Is I always take it too far, Astaroth. I always take it too far.
That's where the seduction comes in.
Yeah,
you got to make them want it.
God, you need to write a book about how to do this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Women are listening to this just wanting a vampire right now to just
they're all
fly in like a bat, and
they're all creamed up over there listening.
Well, they just got to know that I'm not all sparkly like Edward, so they might be slightly disappointed.
But Rob is, so let's get that out there. So is it? I guess. Do they always know whenever you're going through this energy absorption? Does the other person know that it's kind of a heightened sense of emotion and feeling, and it's like a spiritual breakthrough, or can you do it without them knowing?
Oh, I do it without them knowing all the time.
Really?
I don't think I've ever done it to someone with them knowing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, can you go long periods of time without it, or is it something that you have to have in order to function correctly?
I can go super long periods of time without it.
What do you mean? Days, weeks, months? What do you mean?
Probably indefinitely.
Really?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not so much a need as it is a boost.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's that shot of espresso for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't drink coffee, so I do. I
love it.
Now, have you ever had I guess, during this process of absorbing someone's energy, have you ever had the process go wrong? Or has any of your, I guess, when you were working on curses or spells, I don't even know if spells is a word to use, but have you ever had it backfire and go wrong?
So there's a lot of different ways that magic can go wrong. It's not always like, oh no, I fucked up the spell and now I have an extra arm or something like that. Like you could do, like, for lack of a better term, a love spell on someone, and you end up getting with them and they fall in love with you, you fall in love with them. and maybe a couple years down the road, it just all goes to shit. You find out they're a terrible person. They bang your best friend while you're not home, or they start like keying your car, or just shit goes bad. A lot of magic is about judgment, just knowing when and when not to use it.
I got you.
So I've had a bad thing happen once, but it wasn't because of the magic. And it was just a relationship went bad that should never have started in the first place.
Okay. Yeah, those are always kind of doomed from the get-go.
Right.
But aren't those fun?
They are fun. I had some really good sex that didn't.
While it's in the
very
throes
fun in the first like 2/3.
Well, I think that, and you said one of the things that you've done over the years is you've been part of, I guess, cleansing homes and whatnot. Is this something you do often? What are your paranormal experiences look like?
Oh, I've got a lot of those.
Oh shit!
Well, let's talk about them real quick, Astaroth.
So, and before we even say that, I also want to ask, why would someone want to come to you as opposed to going to the traditional way and going to a priest per se?
Okay, so I've never done it for like money or to help like clients or anything.
Sure.
I've only done it to places that I've lived, and like if a friend asks me to, I'll do it. But generally, it's not that hard. You can do a simple ritual that takes like 2.5 to 5 minutes, or you can pull out the incense and the bells and the whatever kind of liquid you want to use. Some people use holy water. You can make your own holy water for whatever spirituality you practice too. But yeah, it varies, but it's mostly been for my personal spaces.
Okay. So, man, I had a question. I don't remember what it was. Shit. Give me a second. Hang on. Okay, I remember what it was.
Okay,
now.
go ahead.
Sorry. So, one of those things, like my brain was working faster than what my mouth could. So whenever you do these certain types of cleansing, is this something where you are personally doing what you said earlier, where you're taking in this energy and neutralizing it, or is it banishing it essentially?
Banishing it is the exact word I was going to use.
Okay, gotcha.
Like that 2.5 to 5 minute ritual that I had mentioned is actually called the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram.
Okay.
All right.
So
it's almost
basically
like
if you can do it two ways. There's the left-hand pathway and the right-hand pathway. The left-hand path is generally like the darker, more self-serving, which is what a vampire would be considered as a left-hand pather. Right-hand path is like Judeo-Christian religions or like Wicca, or generally like white light kind of religions.
Gotcha.
So the way that I was taught how to do it, and I still do it just out of habit, is you make the sign of the cross, you invoke the 4 archangels in the cardinal directions, and each of those have an elemental association. You vibrate their names, so basically you just like chant their name, the name of the angel.
Yeah.
And those angels come, and it's more that the angels cleanse the space than the practitioner.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You're just the summoner, essentially.
What was that?
I said you're just the summoner, essentially.
Basically, yeah. And then you're kind of like, you put your intention into the ritual, and it does its thing. That's a very common ritual that you see in any occult practice.
Nice.
Both before and after doing regular magical workings that you would do, like cursing, blessing, all that stuff.
Now, do all vampires get along, or do you guys have like turf wars and shit?
I'm not super involved with the community of vampires. I used to be.
Okay.
There's a little bit of rivalry, like who's more of a real vampire.
I can see that.
Like, you're not a real vampire because you do that silly thing, and the other group goes, well, you're not a real vampire because you don't do this thing.
That makes sense.
Like, there are groups of vampires that drink blood, and they go, if you don't drink blood, you're not a real vampire. And
I don't think that's
there's the
fair.
group
If they don't call themselves
that,
the
like-
Bloods, I won't fuck with them.
right.
Actually, they probably can't.
I don't know. Weird.
I don't know, man. That's kind of cool. I always wonder with these like with groups if they look down upon other subgrouping, because there's always with anything there's like the main grouping, there's the offset group, it's with anything there's always subgroups.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, left-hand pathers are a very elitist group as it is. That's kind of part of the deal, is you're trying to be elite. So there's always the one-upsmanship.
Coming from the metal scene, I know that all too well.
Yep.
Now, what about your paranormal travels? What has that entailed in your life, Astaroth? I was kind of intrigued by that. Not that it's not really the topic of discussion here, but it seems like you've been rocked by several maybe. Yeah,
you said you had tons of that.
What's going on with that? Don't fucking lie to us either.
So I used to, when I still do, I work with Egyptian deities.
Oh, that's so fucking
those
cool.
That's dirty, man.
Oh,
that's dangerous shit.
So cool.
Go ahead.
Like, I worked with Thoth for a while, or Thoth, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I call him Birdman.
Okay,
So
why would you do this?
why would I work with him?
Yeah.
So he is, in Egyptian mythology, the creator of magic. He's a teaching deity, and also is really good for helping you out with writing stuff. Like
Okay.
any writer that's involved with the occult generally works with him because he kind of just helps the flow happen.
Gotcha.
So I was trying to learn how to write better, smoother, and I was still kind of new in my magical journey when I started working with him. So I was like, I'm going to start studying these things and then working with them, and if you just kind of help me out with it. And it's not like you're like actually talking to the deity.
Right.
It's more like you get feelings or signs or coincidences that are just too coincidental. And so I'd been working with him for probably 2-3 years at the point that this happened. But I had been moving into a new place, and the car that I had at the time was a Jeep Wrangler. So the doors were all not electronic, so you couldn't like e-fob lock them or anything.
Yeah.
You had to manually lock each door if you wanted them locked.
Right.
So I was moving stuff in and out of from the car to the house to the car, et cetera, et cetera. And I go from the car to the house. I bring something upstairs. I drop it off. I come downstairs. I go to open the door of the car, and it's locked. And I'm the only one there.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that there's no way. And I had just done a ritual with him earlier that morning. I don't remember what the ritual was specifically, but so I got locked out of the car, and I ended up getting back in, moving stuff in the house, and then it happened again. It only happened twice, but it was funny to me because like it wasn't the first kind of benign paranormal event that happened to me. Sometimes I can just look at a paranormal event or what I perceive to be paranormal, and just go, "Wow, that's kind of funny." Just because I've never had anything really bad happen to me.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
And
Yeah, way to rub it
Maybe
in.
a
I've had
year-
tons of awful things happen to me.
maybe a year or so after that, I was dating this girl, and apparently she went to go use the bathroom and saw a giant figure, like shadow figure, that had like a giant beak coming off of its face.
No thanks.
Oh man,
And
gotta go.
yeah, she was like, I don't know what the fuck I just saw, but
You can get
that
any
was fucking
vampire pussy that
terrifying.
night.
and I'm like, I had to take a second to be like, do I tell her what I think it is? Or because this could end with a breakup tonight if I do tell her that.
Yeah.
I could imagine that's definitely
I
not
did end
something.
up telling her, and then she told me some super terrifying stories about paranormal experiences she's had. And I was very thankful that I've never had any of the ones that she's had
Whew,
or claimed to have had.
that's
Yeah.
good. You
The
get
grass,
her on,
the grass isn't always greener.
Nope.
you get her on the show.
That would be a hard sell.
You think she's not going to answer your phone calls?
I don't even have her number anymore.
We can find it. We've got resources. We did an episode with Anonymous, and they wrote us, and they said they'll help us with some stuff.
Who we believed was anonymous. We
I don't
it's not
think
confirmed, but I'll
Anonymous
take it.
talk to her.
Well, that's all good stuff. I think that you opened up a lot of doors that were, I guess, closed in my mind. If somebody wished their desire was to become a vampire, is that something that you can just be like, all right, I'm going to do this? Can you point them in a direction, or is it something they got to find their own way into?
They could find their own way into it, but
Yeah.
there is a book that is fantastic for anyone who's interested in getting involved with vampirism, and it is called Energy Magic of the Vampire, spelled with a Y. Secret Techniques for Personal Power and Manifestation by Don Webb.
There you go.
Hold on.
It is on Amazon in both print and Kindle.
What's the name of this book again?
Energy Magic of the Vampire, Secret Techniques for Personal Power and Manifestation. And magic is spelled Magick.
It's got a good rating on Amazon Prime.
That is a beautiful cover.
Beautiful.
And it's a
cover.
brand new book. I just finished it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally
and
brand new.
Enlightened me in a lot of ways about my practice.
Awesome.
There's a set of self-initiations that you can do in that will actually kind of plug you into the current of vampirism.
Ah.
Yeah, and a bunch of like self-analysis that you can do, different rituals, daily practices that you can do. It's kind of a 101 course.
Very nice. I see the paperback version's $25, the Kindle version's $17. Probably well worth the money. I'm going to put the link for that book in the show description if you guys are looking for that. But that's
really cool.
That's a good map, good direction for anyone. Now, if somebody, would this be a lifestyle you would steer them away from, or is this something you would say, yeah, there's some enlightenment that you're going to enjoy? Would you welcome them with open arms, or you think they should steer clear?
I would make sure that they really want it. There's a lot of self-transformation and a lot of hard work that goes into the initiatory process of becoming a vampire.
And I've heard this before.
It's not just doing the magical work and absorbing energy and using it. There's a lot of self-contemplation and really holding yourself accountable for everything that you do.
And I'm sure there's people that listen here that have like high levels of empathy. I feel like it could definitely be something that they could benefit from,
for sure.
Absolutely.
In the long run, because I mean, like a lot of people that are empaths, they kind of struggle with the fact that I'm taking in everybody's bad energy and feeling for them, but then I get no,
and they just don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I get no help with dissolving that negative emotion. So yeah, it definitely sounds like something that could help those people.
Absolutely, 100%. If they're willing to really go down that path, there are easier and less dark ways to go about it.
And if they're
they
listening,
might want to look into first.
If they're listening, I'm already sure they're already teetered over that line. Anyways, they listen to our show.
This is entirely true. You don't listen to the show if you're normal.
Yeah, you don't have white light in you if you're listening to us.
Nope.
My bad. All right, Astaroth. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We are going to stop recording in a second, but we're going to hang on the line with you and talk to you for a few more seconds, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for doing this.
So much. One of the biggest things I want to say is, and when I was going through my research and stuff, this is a highly confidential group of individuals that wish to maintain a lot of anonymity. So I am exceptionally grateful that you came on the show to kind of open up the door a little bit and let us see in. I know there's probably a lot of things that you can't talk about because people just have to experience it themselves. So I really do appreciate it. I'm genuinely thankful for the time you gave us.
Absolutely. It was a blast to be here.
Thank you. This definitely isn't one of the interviews where we get to plug someone's link and be like, hey, hit them up if you have any questions. It's like, hey, you get what you get.
Yeah, don't throw a fit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can contact the publisher of that book too, and they'll relay whatever questions you have to the author, and he'll get back to you. He's super knowledgeable.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.